Titans rookie minicamp kicks off on Friday. What are we looking for? What to watch for from the rookies and undrafted free agents? We're going to get into that now. This is the Music City Audible. Let's get to it. Welcome everyone to another episode of the Music City Audible podcast presented by Sinkers Beverages, the premier wine, spirits, and beer store in East Nashville, along with Broadway Sports Media and 440 Sports. I'm Justin Graver. With me, as always, Justin Melo. Justin, we finally are going to get some footage of the Titans doing football things on the field. I feel like, for whatever reason, the Titans rookie minicamp and all actual football activities, workout OTAs, feel like they're a lot later than a lot of other, I keep seeing clips from other teams' social media accounts of their being excited about their rookies and football happening. And it's like, where is this for the Titans? Well, finally we get it on Friday.
Yeah, I saw it for the Seahawks. I saw it for the Chiefs. And I think I saw it for a few others. Like, why do the Chiefs, they don't deserve an early start. They're in the Super Bowl every year. Make them start in July compared to everyone else. Not fair. When you have Mahomes, you start in July. No, I'm excited, man. Rookie, it's again, just that first glimpse of the rookie class in their uniforms, practicing. They're going to be speaking to the media. Our select rookies with Brian Callahan are going to be meeting with the media, I think, after Saturday's practice, which is the first practice day, right? I think Friday's just like a report date, I think, essentially. So Saturday practice, really excited about it. We'll be back Monday, by the way. I mean, it's early to say that. We'll be back Monday to recap everything that happened at rookie minicamp with a very good guest who's going to be there in person, in attendance, to give us the firsthand report, if you will. But really pumped to have some Titans football clips almost on the timeline here.
Yeah, exactly. Titans will be, I think it's a 3-day minicamp, so not 100% sure what Friday entails, if they get on the field at all, or if, like you said, it's more like meetings and just reporting. Saturday and Sunday definitely practices, and like you said, that Saturday practice open to the media, and we will have a member of Titans media on this podcast on Monday morning to break down what he saw out there. Hint, it is a male reporter he saw. But before we talk about what we're going to be watching for in the reports and talking to this reporter, at Titans rookie minicamp, there's a couple things I wanted to hit on. The Titans re-signed James Lynch, defensive tackle, so just adding a little bit more depth to that room, some experienced depth. They have a lot of bodies there that are competing for back-end roster spots. I think this makes it a little tougher. Not much else to say on James Lynch.
He played tough last year. He played tough for him, gave them good snaps as a rotational guy. And anytime a new GM comes in and brings a guy back from the previous regime, insinuates they're pretty impressed with that guy. James Lynch played good ball.
Yeah, exactly. So I expect him to be like a guy who makes the roster unless these UDFA tackles just are super impressive, which would be a shocker for a UDFA tackle. The other thing that happened news-wise is the Jags released Gabe Davis. And on Wednesday, this drummed up a lot of social media attention. A lot of Titans fans, why shouldn't the Titans go sign Gabe Davis? A lot of other Titans fans, the Titans don't need Gabe Davis and they shouldn't sign him at all. Now, I don't want to spend a lot of time on this because I want to talk about rookie minicamp. So here's what I'm going to do, Justin. Let's do something fun. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to give your thoughts on whether or not the Titans should sign Gabe Davis.
I'm long-winded.
I have a clock. Are you ready? The clock starts now. Go.
I'm going to say no on Gabe Davis. I know the Titans need a wide receiver. They could always improve that room. I'm not going to stick my nose up and say no to most things. But for me, Gabe Davis, I think, Shimmeray DK and Alec Iomanner, they give you some similar things, some vertical ability. And the Titans are not in win now mode. Gabe Davis was a disaster last year. I don't think he improves this room enough to stunt the development of two receivers you just drafted. And I think he'd play similar positions. I want to see Alec Iomanner at X and DK competing at the other spot.
You did it. Nice. And that's all we'll say on Gabe Davis. I will say I agree with you. I don't think the Titans need him. All right, then. Really quick, Justin, before we get to rookie minicamp observations, we are going to talk I'll Drink to That, presented by Sinkers Beverages. And just a quick note to react to a social media clip that was floating around Thursday morning of Giants GM Joe Shane, while the Titans are on the clock during the first round of the NFL draft, giving one last attempt to trade up for Cam Ward. It feels like Joe Shea knew it was a joke or knew that Morganzi was going to say no, but calls him and kind of says like, hey, just wanted to take one last shot. Are you guys making this pick? And Really, it just goes to show one more time something that we've said a few times now. The league, the media sphere, everybody was so down on this quarterback class and calling Cam Ward like just propped up because he was the best of a bad bunch and he'd be QB7 or whatever in last year's draft and QB4 in next year's draft. Those takes are already swirling. I don't know how true this is. And obviously, everything will be decided by how he plays on the field, but the Giants are trying as hard as they can to trade up. Reports of them offering massive hauls, the kind of hauls we talked about in February as like, that's what it would take for us to move off of the potential of a franchise quarterback. The Browns, Diana Rossini reporting that they would have taken Cam Ward at number 2 if the Titans had not done it, or and hadn't traded the pick, if they'd just taken Abdul Carter or whatever. The Browns would have taken Cam Ward, and the Browns traded out of that pick for a massive haul themselves. So they would have given up the chance for a massive haul to take Cam Ward. And we obviously know the Titans declined a massive haul to take Cam Ward. So the 3 of the most quarterback needy teams in the league decided this guy's worth it. And that's what I'm drinking to today, is that I can't wait to see him prove that he is worth it starting this weekend at rookie minicamp. And I've seen the rebuttal to this being that the Giants, the Browns, and the Titans haven't exactly been the best evaluators of quarterback play. So therefore, the fact that they want Cam Ward this badly doesn't actually mean anything about what the league thinks of him. And I think that's a pretty foolish thing to say. Like, these guys still get paid a lot of money to evaluate these players, especially the brain trust the Titans brought in, who have experience with Patrick Mahomes and Jordan Love and Joe Burrow and scouting all these great guys who went on to be great quarterbacks. I'm not buying that because it's these teams, it means that Cam Ward is or isn't any better than what we think. But it's just another affirmation, a sign of encouragement that the Titans got a high-level prospect who wasn't just the best quarterback of a bad bunch. He was a great quarterback in a draft class, a great quarterback prospect in a draft class full of not-so-good quarterback prospects.
Yeah, I'm going to say this. Generally, when it comes to quarterbacks, you said everything I wanted to say about the Browns and the Giants. Generally, when it comes to quarterback evaluation, I think you generally want to be in line with the consensus. And what I mean by that is I'll go out and say, like, the Titans went against the consensus on Will Levis. And the reason I have that opinion is because when a guy is rumored to go in the first round, rumored to go number 1 overall at some point, which was an outrageous rumor, and you take him at 33, I think it's safe to say the league didn't really like him very much, right? The consensus was not high on Will Levis. The Titans went against the consensus on Malik Willis, who was rumored at number 2 overall and goes like 86, whatever, right? Titans went against the consensus. I'll take you way back. Jake Locker was considered a huge reach, right? Titans went against the consensus. We don't give the NFL enough credit. I think generally speaking, when you go against the consensus on a quarterback prospect, you're probably going to get it wrong. The majority usually gets it right. And the majority here really liked Cam Ward, right? The Browns would have taken him at 2. The Giants tried like hell to trade up to number 1. So, all that to say, hopefully you can, if you're still against the pick, I think most people are really excited to hear that, especially that listen and watch this podcast. But If you're still against the pick, maybe use that to find some comfort in it.
Yeah, and we're about to see it for real on the field, whether or not the Titans made a good pick. Obviously, we won't have a final determination on that for a while, but we'll at least get our first glimpse of it. I'll drink to that. Brought to you by Sinkers Beverages, the premier wine, spirits, and beer store in East Nashville, serving the community since 1985. Their knowledgeable staff is proud to help you with large parties, themed events, or finding something unique for a special occasion. From birthday parties to milestone celebrations to everyday moments, Sinkers can help with the right drink for every occasion. Justin, I'm putting together some little boxes. I'm going to be getting married next year, and I've got to ask my groomsmen to be groomsmen in a special whatever way. So I'm putting these boxes together. I'm going to Sinkers Beverages to get me some little mini shot bottles to put in there with a note that says, if you want to be my groomsman, show me you accept by taking this shot of tequila and send me a video of it. And so Sinkers Beverages is helping me plan my wedding, and they're perfect for every occasion. Just wanted to let the people know.
I love that. That's a phenomenal idea. And any way we could have Sinkers involved, it's a great way to do it. And everyone nowadays, when people are asking to be groomsmen, it's always these gift things and do this, do that. So glad Sinkers could help you.
All right, Justin, without further ado, let's talk about what we're watching for this weekend in Titans rookie minicamp. And I want to open this little segment here by playing a clip from Mike Borgonzi on 104.5 The Zone, Ramon, Kayla, and Will. He joined them on Wednesday morning, and he was asked, when you evaluate Cam Ward in a Titans uniform for the first time this upcoming weekend, what do you hope to see from him and the rest of these rookies as they start the process? What will you be watching for as rookie minicamp gets started? Here is Mike Borgonzi's answer to that question.
For Cam, just getting in and out of the huddle right now, right? and spitting out the play call and getting guys lined up. And as we go, there'll be more put on their plate. But really just getting down to the basics here, especially, this weekend. And then get acclimated with the veterans here next week as well. But, really for us this weekend is really just an onboarding process for us and really just to learn the playbook on both sides of the ball for these guys and special teams. Really just to get the mental part of the game down first before they can start moving full speed.
Boo. How boring is that?
Doesn't surprise me, though. Can I be honest with you? And like coaches, GMs, like fans don't realize it. They do put so much emphasis on running a smooth operation. You know what I mean? Like what he said, getting the play call, in and out of the huddle. Like those are the first things you're looking for when you bring in a rookie, of course.
Yeah. So Cam Ward, I think, is at the forefront of this discussion just because he's the most exciting player. He's the most important player in this draft class, the most important rookie at minicamp for the Titans. And for him, as Borgonzi said, the first step is understanding the playbook, not just like studying it in his bedroom at night, as I'm sure he's been doing religiously since he was drafted, but getting out on the field and actually putting it into action, saying the play calls out loud to his teammates in the huddle, managing things at the line of scrimmage. I'm really excited to see like what the reports come out of how well he's handling this transition, but I think he has a really solid leg up to get this process started compared to most rookies, just because part of this process isn't just learning the playbook and spitting out play calls. It's gaining the trust of his teammates around him and rallying these guys to play at a higher level than they thought capable. And that's something that he's done 3 times already in his life, going to Incarnate Word, picking up the air raid offense. You talked to Eric Morris and did a great story on how he was able to use that COVID spring or COVID fall time before the spring season, that weird season they played, to really understand this playbook, and then doing it again, going to Washington State. Playbook didn't really change at first, but then Eric Morris leaves after his first year at Washington State to go be the head coach at North Texas. Now he's got to learn another playbook. Then he goes to Miami, and yeah, Shannon Dawson incorporated some 4 vertical stuff into their offense, but it's another new playbook with another group of verbiage, another group of teammates that he has to gain the trust of, and he did it every time. And especially at Miami, going in with, a massive NIL contract, huge expectations for a historically great program that had not been great at all before he got there, and lived up to all those expectations, all the pressure that was on him. It's a very similar situation. Obviously, this is yet another step up in terms of pressure, expectations, spotlight, and level of competition, most of all. But he's done it so many times before that I feel like this isn't the same kind of like welcome to the league. Now it's a career. It's not just a thing you're doing in school. Like, he was essentially a professional athlete at Miami last year because he got paid to go to that program and reinvigorate them. Now he's got to come do the same thing for Tennessee. I have this weird feeling that it's just going to work out. And so, yeah, the first step starts this weekend, but I think it's going to be smooth sailing for Cam Ward. That's just kind of how I feel.
I agree with you in the sense that, and the piece that I did with Coach Eric Morris on Titans Size, like, that was arguably a bigger challenge, like coming from the wing T in high school and never throwing the ball to picking up the air raid offense. Like, it's certainly really, really impressive and speaks to his knowledge of the game and his work ethic, right? And the good habits that he's managed to create throughout 5 years, of college football. So I agree. I think the experience at 3 different programs, playing under multiple staffs, playing in multiple systems, different teammates, different locker rooms, it's going to make him a natural coming here this weekend to rookie minicamp, as really he starts the journey of being the guy in Tennessee. 'Cause let's be honest, it starts right now. When you take a quarterback number 1, it starts at rookie minicamp. And then, as Mike Borgonzi mentioned, next week when the veterans come in and they're together for the first time, the rookies and the veterans, it's going to start there too, right? So for me, yeah, I think he's incredibly well prepared to the minor things they're looking for right now: picking up the playbook, getting out of the huddle, commanding sort of attention in the huddle and regurgitating plays to your teammates, all that stuff, right? Like, I think it's going to be a smooth sailing for him.
And he had to do that at Miami last year. I've said this on our show before, but he didn't just read giant picture cards off the sideline that, communicated the entire play to the offense, where he didn't have to actually spit out a play call. Like, the Miami play calls were not simple, short plays. They were long-winded, like word salads that he had to memorize and communicate to his teammates. So he's done that. Now, obviously, it's a different playbook. Everything's going to be called a different name. So it's like learning a new language for him. But I just think that there won't be that big of a transition in terms of like playing in the huddle and that kind of stuff, because he had to do it last year. And when it comes to playing under center, which is not something he did a lot last year, the wing T offense is a mostly under center offense. So we kind of had this conversation with about J.C. Latham last year, playing left tackle in high school, goes to college and plays right tackle. And it's like, oh, can he play left tackle? He's moving back to the left side. Like, can he actually do this? We've never seen it. Well, yeah, he did it during his high school days. So it's not that foreign to him. Same thing with Cam Ward going under center. That's basically all he did in high school, was play under center. So, he didn't have a lot of drop back passing attempts where he had to, execute a 5-step drop from under center versus a 3-step drop out of shotgun. Those are very different footwork mechanics. But I do think like it won't be that unnatural to him to start running plays from under center, because the Titans, while they may utilize shotgun a lot, they're not going to be in shotgun 95% of the time like Miami was last year. So that's another area of transition. But we can move off Cam Ward. There's 8 other rookie draft picks. There's a huge undrafted free agent class. Is there something else that you're looking forward to this weekend to seeing? I can go here. Femi Oladejo. Let's see this guy play edge and not play off-ball linebacker the way that he did at the Senior Bowl. Like, let's see that development continuing from where he left off at the Senior Bowl, where he had an excellent week, where he told Titans media after he was drafted that he felt like his abilities as an edge rusher really started to unlock at the Senior Bowl. He had NFL coaches there, not college coaches, helping him transition mid-season. He's got NFL coaches now coming in this weekend, and I'm sure working on techniques and stuff like that is going to be a big emphasis for him.
Yeah, I mean, that of course, that's a great shout, because he's their second round pick and one of the more raw players that they selected in the entire draft. Of course, curious to see everyone, where's Kevin Winston at, coming back off this partially torn ACL, then the wide receivers as well, Alec Ioman or Shimray DK, who we talked about earlier quickly in the Gabe Davis discussion. How about the UDFAs? Titans have yet to officially announce the UDFA class. They'll do that this weekend. I've got on pretty good authority. There's going to be 17 names. We went through them a couple episodes ago. I've got an article on Titan Size chronicling each one who I expect to officially sign with the Titans. What's exciting to me about that is, first of all, you find out rather quickly if a guy could stick or not. I'll give you an example. Last year, I think it was shortly after rookie minicamp, they cut Jacob Copeland, a wide receiver UDFA out of Florida that people were excited about. But they were quickly like, he can't hang at this level. They got rid of him. Seattle Seahawks had rookie minicamp last week, and they cut 2 UDFAs days later. Like, you find out quickly if these guys can hang. So maybe the Titans make a couple moves there. And which one of them stands out, if any? Because I find, generally speaking, it's not the ones we tend to expect, right? Like, we don't know a lot about UDFA in general, right? Like, the average NFL draft fan doesn't know a lot about UDFAs, and we tend to cling on to the big names, like the Xavier Restrepos, Jalen Kimber, because he played at Penn State, but sometimes it's a Micah Bernard, a running back who we're giving no chance. It's a Julius Chestnut out of Sacred Heart, right? That comes in and makes a bigger impression than you're expecting. So I'm really curious to see which of these UDFA stand out, because it might not be the ones we think it will be.
I'm curious to see the list. I just want to know if we got it right, because you know what? I say we. If you got it, you brought the list to the pod when we did that episode. So let's see how right or wrong we were. It still gnaws at me that last year we talked for probably 3 minutes about a guy who never showed up and completely omitted a guy that was there because we never got a report that he was going to be there. So let's see how that list looks. Yeah, you mentioned Xavier Restrepo, and he is the headline name of the UDFA class. There's no doubt about it. I'm excited to see what it looks like. There's going to be some videos of like Cam Ward and Xavier Restrepo just chopping it up on the sideline between drills or whatever.
Looking for a vein to inject it into right now.
That are going to just pop on social media. And honestly, like, for good reason. I can't wait to see it, just because it's going to be fun to see these two rookies who played so well together last year on the field in the NFL. And I'm also curious to see like how that's handled. Does Xavier Restrepo, obviously we won't learn too much about this at rookie minicamp, but even in pecking order with the 4th round picks versus Xavier Restrepo, what does the chemistry look like between Cam Ward and Restrepo? And is it so noticeably better than it is with the other rookie receivers and any tryout guys? Because they're not going to have just 3 receivers there this weekend. Like they'll have tryout guys. There'll be enough bodies to like actually run drills and stuff. So I'm excited to see if that chemistry is really like palpably better than what he has with the 4th rounders and what the pecking order looks like. But it's just going to be so fun. Brian Callahan has managed a situation like this. Obviously, much different profile when you draft Jamar Chase 5th overall, and Joe Burrow has already had a full seasoning of NFL experience, injury or no injury that rookie year. So, but Brian Callahan has managed a situation where college quarterback and wide receiver teammates pair up in the NFL and built an offense basically around Burrow and Chase's strengths. I'm curious to see if there's any special attention given to Restrepo because of this connection, not like from the coaching staff special attention, but like, is he treated like a typical UDFA, or is he treated like this guy's going to make the team as a receiver, or we expect this guy to be good enough to make the team as a receiver the way you would treat the 4th round picks,
Well, for me, it's how often does Cam Ward look his way, when they're doing any throwing whatsoever, right? Because it's like, does he just have that sort of, that built-in chemistry? Does it make a difference with how often he targets the 4th round receivers as well? I'm excited to see Gunnar Helm too, by the way, tight end as well, out of Texas, who I know you're high on. I think is going to come in and play a good role here this year.
Yeah, so that's a lot of stuff we're looking forward to seeing at Rookie Minicamp. Any final thoughts here? Do we miss anything that you wanted to talk about?
No, I think that essentially does it. It's an exciting time. Again, it's going to be a very, very light practice, very light, more walkthrough type stuff. Than there's no tackling permitted or anything like that. So it's not full blown football per se. But we're excited to get what we can, right? It's May and we'll take what we can get. And right now we're getting rookie minicamp, and it's more exciting than it's ever been because you got a number 1 overall quarterback for the first time in franchise history. 1960, they've never done it. So excited to see Cam Ward out there, and we'll be back Monday, just in a couple days, to recap what all actually went down.
Yes, that Saturday practice is going to generate so many Twitter clips. I cannot wait to repost them and just to watch them and get our friend on here, Titans reporter, to talk about what he sees at that Saturday practice. I think that's going to be really great access for our listeners, for you and me, to ask him questions and figure out, how things look out there. So we'll be back then. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. A little bit shorter episode this week, but we got a nice video up on the channel right now talking through the concepts we expect to see the Titans install specifically for Cam Ward and build this offense around his strengths. So check out that video if you missed it on the channel. And we'll be back on Monday. Thanks again to Sinkers Beverages as well. Until next week, y'all stay safe out there and tighten up.
A Broadway sports media production.